And then you get older and you start to look back and you're like, maybe it was me. I want to ask you a question. Don't answer it. I just want you to think it to yourself. I just finished over at the high school, and so I have to readjust to come here. And after 26 years, I'm still honored every time I get to be a part of your life. Here's the question. Who's the hardest person to get to know? That's right. And you're going to spend your whole life continuing to say the same thing until you start to think right now about taking responsibility for getting to know who you are and being comfortable with who you are not. Whether it's on social media, whether it's a podcast or an interview or television, people, they'll ask me. The most common question I get, Jeff, you've been working with teens for 26 years. What do you think is the most important thing that we need to give young people? And I don't even hesitate. I say self-esteem. And as a father to a child, as a teacher to a student, as a coach to an athlete, I'm going to say, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful, you're capable, I believe in you, you can do this. But what do our words mean if you don't believe it yourself? I think one of the most important things for us at our age, is there a place that I can stand where I'm not getting this feedback? No, it's just going to be like that? Okay. I'm okay. I'm just thinking more like irritating for them. We'll see. We'll figure it out. It's like I would tell my own kids. I'd be like, listen, get to know who you are. Be comfortable with who you are not. I meet young people just over at the high school. I ask for, on a scale of 1 to 10, our anxiety, our stress, with 10 being real high and 1 being real low, where are we? And over the high school, it's like, 10, 12, 8, 9. How present can we be if our emotions every day are so high where there's no room for us to just take a step back and respond to situations, not to react to situations? I want to tell you what happened 6 years ago. I was married to the most beautiful woman in the world. High school English teacher, student council advisor, yearbook editor, theater director, department head. We married for 17 years. Matter of fact, when we got engaged, her best friend said to me, she said, hey, Jeff, you're taking the most beautiful woman off the market. I said, I know. It was 6 years ago, we went through a divorce. And folks, I wish this on nobody. It would have been easy for me to blame it on her. Blame it on family, blame it on money, blame it on this, blame it on that. And I think sometimes when we're young and we're trying to figure ourselves out, we do that. I found myself one day looking in the mirror. It's a powerful place to be. As I looked in the mirror, I said, what did I have to do with this? And I realized at that moment that my mental illness was much greater than I ever respected it to be. And so as I stand in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a man that proudly lives with mental illness. I'm diagnosed with major depression, bipolar type 2, PTSD. And you say, dude, people don't talk about this. And you say you're proud. Why? Because the moment you start to acknowledge, accept, and continually to work on you, everything changes. Everything changes. You don't worry about the little things. Like, I've been in your community for 3 days now. I know the stresses, the expectations, the high pressure. Let me ask you something. What is happiness? What is success? I asked your parents that last night. They had trouble answering it. As a man that lives with mental illness, I'll tell you, I don't live for the destination to someday arrive at this place where I can look back on my life and say, oh. Because I meet a lot of people that arrive at the destination, retirement, down the road. They arrive at this place and they look back and say, I never appreciated the journey. And so as a man that lives with mental illness, I live every day for today. Because if you can't appreciate today, the highs, the lows, the losses, the wins, the defeat, the rejection, the accolades, if you can't appreciate every day, you'll never be grateful for what that then can be all about. And so we are working so hard, losing the present to try and grow up too fast to have that, to look back and say, why? And so I have 3 questions. I challenge you with this. Question number 1, when I lay my head in the pillow at night, I ask 3 questions. Here's question 1. Is my life meaningful? What does that mean to you? Number 2, is my life fulfilling? What's that mean to you? 9th grade, that means something different than maybe one of your teachers. You listening? So I'm going to leave here and thinking you and maybe some of your peers were listening. Don't you think that's fulfilling? Yeah. Is my life meaningful, fulfilling, rewarding? Here's the challenge. As you go through life, if you can't say yes to those 3 questions, you got to think, what change do I have to make so that you can say yes, yes, yes? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a smart man, but probably the greatest lesson that I've ever learned is when I looked in the mirror and I didn't like the reflection looking back, I realized right then I had to make a change. And I want to challenge you that when you look in the mirror, and if you don't like the reflection that looks back, don't blame it on the mirror. It just means you got to spend more time there. What's your name? Shayla, most beautiful girl in the world. Move, handsome man. You ladies, move. Move over, girlfriend. I want to ask you a question. It's okay. It's okay. I'm 47. How old are you? 15? 14? Shayla, I want to ask you a question. As I ask you this question, pay no attention to anyone in this room. This is me, you, me, my heart, your heart, my heart. As I ask you this question, every student in this room is going to ask themselves the same question. But only your answer are we going to know. And I don't want you to be honest with me. I want nothing more important than for you to be honest with yourself. Does that make sense? Yes. Here's the question. You know how we've looked in the mirror and we do every day? Has that reflection ever not been very favorable?
Yeah.
Do you think everyone in this room lives with self-doubt? Yeah. Okay, here's the question. Tonight, Wednesday night, let's say you go home, it's 9 o'clock at night, 10 at night, you go up to your room, you're putting on your pajamas. You're getting ready for bed, you walk across into the bathroom, you shut the door behind you. When you shut the door behind you, you're brushing your teeth, you're in the mirror. Here's the question. That reflection tonight, do you see a woman as beautiful on the inside as the whole world we see you on the outside? It's hard. It's hard to be one of your peers and to be vulnerable in front of each other. As we're growing up, thank you for being so awesome and so beautiful. Thank you for being so mature in front of everybody. You didn't have to answer it. I saw it. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we want? We want to be accepted. It's one of the greatest needs. But instead of looking to be accepted by other people, we need to focus more on accepting ourselves. And so I want to challenge you. Spend less time looking in the mirror at how you look. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're strong. When you spend time in the mirror, look at who you are. And when you take care of who you are, how you look takes care of itself. Folks, I wish I knew this. I'm not a smart man. I graduated high school, 128 out of 133 students. I was rejected by 16 of the 19 colleges that I applied to. I was a 3-sport all-state varsity athlete. Played football, basketball, baseball. I was heavily recruited to play Division I football until one day. I had to take these exams called the SATs. And I scored so poorly on those exams that I was academically ineligible to go to college to play college sports. My self-esteem was then crushed. And then all of a sudden I'm walking through school, I'm not as smart as you, I'm not capable of doing anything, never gonna amount to anything. And then on the night that I graduated from high school, my mom and dad kicked me out of the house. I know, we can look at that, but how could parents do that to a child? But as you grow up and you mature, I kind of look back and I say, I probably would have kicked me out too. And so here's where everything changed. And I want you to understand, as 9th graders, we stand here and our future is all out in front of us. I'm 47 years old and I've come to look at life. 3 things matter: your attitude, your choices, and your behavior. I wish I knew that when I was your age. I didn't. So my parents kicked me out. I'm walking the streets in New York. And you know what some of us do? I'm generalizing. I'm not picking on you. We start pushing away the parents, the messengers. We push away our teachers and coaches. Like, yo, you don't know me. You don't understand. You don't know what it's like to grow up, and my parents want me to do this, but I don't want to do that. They're pushing me, the expectations, and I just want to be me. My self-esteem was so low that I honestly thought, if I could just meet a girl and marry her, that maybe she would take care of me. And so at 18 years old, I met a girl. I got married. At 19 years old, I had my first child. Ladies and gentlemen, I was a child having a child. And so I didn't know what to do. I'm not listening to anybody. I joined the United States Marine Corps. I'm like, yo, I'm a man. I got to take care of my family, yo. At 20 years old, I go to the Gulf War to serve my country. I wasn't ready for that. I was there less than 2 weeks. On patrol one night, 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 vehicles ahead of mine, a roadside bomb goes off. 2 Marines were killed. We come back to the States. February 26, 1992. 8 o'clock in the morning, we have formation out in the parade deck. All the Marines are lined up at the armory to get their weapons. I'm walking down the barracks. Gentlemen, let's go. We got formation. Let's get out there. It was 3rd door, left-hand side. I walk in that room, and one of my Marines is sitting in a middle chair with a chair on either side this far away. I says, Eisenberg, let's go. He takes a 9mm, puts it at his chin. I'm stuck in my tracks. I said, don't do it. And he looked at me and he said, nobody cares about me. And I looked at him and I said, I care about you. And as I looked at him in his eyes, and he looked at me in my eyes, he pulled the trigger. And they didn't let me leave that room until 8 o'clock that night. And so all these years of therapy and counseling, I've come to learn this did not happen to me. See, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear it. You are not a victim. I know we all live life. There's circumstances, conditions, challenges, obstacles. Life happens. Life happens every day. But you're not a victim. I want you to learn to be a victor. We can all sit here and complain and be angry. What does that do? You know what it does? It exposes your wounds and your weakness. But life every day happens for you because it conditions you, it shapes you. We grow as a result of everything that we go through. And I don't want to be insensitive, so this moment didn't happen to me, it happened for me, and here's why. Maybe part of this shaped me to do what I do. Maybe if one of you comes up to me and either, hey, Jeff, thanks for serving our country. Hey, Jeff, thanks for speaking to us. You'll know that I will stop and I will look you in the eye and I'll say, thank you for listening. Because I never want someone to walk away from me thinking, he doesn't care about us. What if we replaced our expectations with appreciation? You ever been disappointed? Sure. Where's that come from? Expectations not being met. So if you eliminate the expectation and learn to say, thank you. Jeff, you don't understand. I live in South Carolina. My mom and dad live in New Bern, North Carolina. We just had a hurricane. My mom and dad lost everything. We lost 3 houses, 3 cars, including a Ferrari. The boat sank. My mom and dad are in their 70s, worked their whole lives to arrive at this destination for a storm to come in and take out everything. When my parents evacuated, we were talking about having a hurricane kit. She's like, what do you got? I said, Mom, I'm good. I said, what do you got? She said, I got pictures. I got pictures. And over the past couple days, you know what my dad said? We can rebuild. Folks, life happens. And it might not be your fault. Divorce, adversity, my dad's not in my life, my mom, cancer, the loss of a family member, not your fault, but that doesn't mean it's not now your responsibility. What does that mean? Life happens, it's not fair, but your responsibility is pick yourself up every day, move forward. The greatest thing I've learned to do with my mental illness, don't be afraid to ask for help. And so I've come to learn that, you know what? You wake up, you get up, you dress up, and you show up. Half the battle. Guys, relax a little bit. A quarter of the next battle, you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you dance. And then you know what the other quarter is? Your attitude, your choices, and your behavior. It's that simple. Positive attitude, positive behavior. At the end of the day, positive results. But then many of us, bad attitude, bad behavior. This guy sucks. School sucks. Everything sucks. My parents suck. Sports sucks. My teachers are stupid. This food is stupid. I hate Dallas, Texas. I don't even like you. Then at the end of the day, honey, how was school today? Mom, it was stupid. Is it that school was stupid, or is it that maybe our attitude needs to be adjusted? Folks, I wish I knew this. I wish when I was your age, I knew this. At 22 years old, I had my second child. And ladies and gentlemen, at 23 years old, I lost everything. I lost everything. And I stand in front of you thinking, bad attitude, bad choices, bad behavior resulted in me bringing two beautiful young ladies into the world. And I'm proud that they didn't live the victim mentality. But it wasn't easy for them. 10 years ago, their mom called me. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, speaking to student council. Get a phone call from their mom, and she says to me, "Are you free right now?" I was like, "No, I'm talking to kids. Why?" I'll never forget what Mom said. Mom said, "You might want to make yourself free." I says, "Why?" She said, "I just dropped your daughters off at the airport. And unless you want them to be homeless, you need to find them a one-way ticket because they're no longer welcome in my family anymore." I go to the lady that brought me in and she says, "Listen, I have to go." I get on a plane. 3 hours later, I arrive Dayton International Airport. I get off the plane. I walk in front of the airport, and sitting on a bench on the other side of the airport, my daughters, Tori and Taylor, are sitting on a bench. And they had 3 black trash bags to their name. That's it. They had no money. They had no cell phone. They barely had hope. Ladies and gentlemen, don't ever lose hope. And the first thing I did is I run up to them. I gave them a great big hug, and I said, "It's going to be okay." Do you think that when I hugged them and I said that it would be okay, that I knew that it would be okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know you. And you don't know me. But I promise you, if you are willing to do the work every day, you might, "Well, Jeff, what do you mean? What is the work?" Wake up, get up, dress up, show up. Brush your teeth, wash your face, look in the mirror, look at you. Look at who you are, not how you look, because when you take care of this, that takes care of itself. Walk out the door, one foot in front of the other, attitude, choices, behavior. You do that, ain't nothing going to stop you. You will overcome everything. That's the work. I'm thankful that my daughters are doing okay. But some of us, when something doesn't go right, we wallow in that self-pity. Life's not fair. Why does this, why this, what? Folks, change the question. We could why this, why that all day. I learned to change the quality question from why to how. How can I be a better speaker? How can I be a better dad? How can I be a better friend? Going back to the expectation versus the objective, I'll share with you something that's very real. My contract says absolutely no kids on both sides of the bleachers. Absolutely not. I could walk in here, I could walk away and say no. Why would I do that? I could allow that to disappoint me, and then that affects you. But the objective is what matters, not the expectation. And so I walk in, I'm like, okay, oh, wow, the kids are all here, microphone, okay, this is the microphone. I could be disappointed about that, but you know what? We're all suffering from that. But the objective is simply this. Microphone, go time. I don't need an introduction. I'm going to be real. I'm going to give my heart to your heart. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to respect you and everyone in between. Let me ask you a question. If I respect you, sir, don't you think you're going to respect me back? What if I respect you and you choose not to respect me back? Is that my issue or is that his issue? Your self-esteem, you have to understand, not everyone's going to like you. People will judge you every day. You can't allow people to have the power over your emotions. You know what happened to me a month ago? Folks, you can't make this up. This is borderline inappropriate. Stay with me. Shut up. It's fun. No, I'm not serious. I'm kidding. Well, it's okay. Borderline inappropriate. Folks, don't take me that serious. No. I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I'm on a plane, I arrive in Charlotte, and I get off the plane, I gotta go to Buffalo. I get off the plane, I'm like, I have to urinate. That's the appropriate term. And so I go in the men's room, and there's nobody there. And I was like, that's nice. Is it open? Who cares? I gotta urinate. I walk over to the very far urinal, and I start, shut up, you guys have had to pee. And all of a sudden, out of my peripheral vision, I see this dude walk in, this older dude. And he's getting closer and closer, and he comes up to the urinal right next to mine. Dude, I know, I was there. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why? Like, you don't do that. My flow stopped. I got like stage fright. And then he looked at me. Folks, you can't make this up. He looks at me and he's like, I would never hire you. Number one, he breaks bro code. You use every other urinal. And then he looks at me and he says, folks, I told you I have bipolar type 2, right? That's important. Because, no, what? My bipolar, you could say something that will trigger an emotion. Yeah, I'm going to snap and jack you up. Now, had I done that, reacting, you get in trouble. Responding, you make better choices. My mental illness, self-care, stress 10, low stress 1. I wake up every morning to work on me. And the first thing I do, 5 a.m., I wake up and breathe. In yoga, they call it an Ujjayi breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. Because when you inhale and exhale through your nose real deep, as if you're whispering, you're burning the toxins that are in your body. So I take my stress and anxiety from like a 9, 10, I bring it down to a 2 or 3. And had I not practiced this and worked on my self-care, I would have stepped off that urinal, I would have windmill, scissor kick, jacked him up. Now had I done that, I would have probably urinated on him, I would have urinated on me, I would have urinated all over the place. That wouldn't have been good, right? So you know what I did? My self-care, I ignored him. Ladies, gentlemen, I deserve an Emmy for this. I ignored him. I walked away. I go to the sink, and I'm washing my hands, because you should do that. When said weird freak guy comes over, he's washing his hands, and he says to me, your tattoos are very unprofessional. I wanted to snap again. I ignored him. Self-care, anxiety low. This triggered me to about a 5 or 6. Ignore him, walk away. Here's what I like about this story. Ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is no different than you and I. We judge people every day based on the 5% we think we know about them. Living with mental illness, I've come to realize life is one big giant quilt. And all of us, different shapes and sizes, pieces, fabrics, colors, we're all woven together. 3 middle schools come to 1 9th grade class. We're like now one big giant quilt that makes one where we go over to high school next year. Why do we judge people every day? You know what? I found myself on the plane the other day. I'm sitting in first class. This dude gets in. He's sitting next to me, and he's got all tattoos. And I'm like, who's this joker? And I thought to myself, that's how people look at me. That's how people look at me. And I thought, I don't know him. Sometimes you got to check yourself. We got to understand everybody has a story. We got to embrace everybody. 4 years ago, I was invited to be a legal guardian of two biracial boys. I'll never forget, the door closed, divorce, I think life is over. And then one day at church, Grandma says to me, "Hey, Jeff, could you just be a big brother to Joshua and Jordan? These two boys, their mom, 36 years old, she died unexpectedly." I want to tell you about Jordan and Josh. Jordan, 12 years old, 7th grade. Loved this kid. He was amazing. Go to sleep at night, wake up on his own alarm clock. My kids don't sleep with their phones. He'd get up, he'd get in the shower. I'm walking down the hall. He's singing. I'm laughing. He sucked at singing. But he was starting his mood. He's creating that attitude. And then he'd come downstairs. This is the best. He loved waffles. Take the waffles out of the freezer, put them in the toaster. Push the toaster down. A minute later, boing, waffles are done. Takes the waffles, puts them on a plate, grabs the syrup, pours it all over the kitchen counter, and accidentally spills some on his waffles. How the heck do you miss your freaking waffles? And then boys, he'd go in the bathroom. "Hey, three-pointer." "Whoop, I missed. That's short." "Oh, boy." And I'd be in the kitchen. "Jordan, what?" I'm like, "No, pee in the toilet." Everyone loved him because he was an advocate for kids that got made fun of. He did well in school. I want to tell you about his brother. His brother Joshua, 9th grade, 15 years old. From the age of 1 to 3 years old, Joshua was sexually abused by his father. Ladies and gentlemen, their father will never walk away from prison. Joshua couldn't sleep in his own room at night. Every night we go to bed, he'd come in, he'd say, "Mr. Jeff, can I sleep with you?" And so every night he'd bring his pillow and blanket in my room, and he would sleep on the floor right next to my bed. And every morning when we would get up, I'd say, "Take your pillow and blanket back to your room, make your bed." He never understood why, but I never negotiated. He said, "I think the first thing we should do every morning is make our bed." And I don't care if you just take the comforter and just put it over your bed. It takes 10 seconds, and before you walk out of your room, you're like, I did something. And if you have a bad day in the world you're growing up with, you guys don't have timeouts, 365, 24/7. Every moment of every day you're on. And if you have a bad day, he said, she said, a bad day, this class, this test, you didn't do well, you can always come home to your four walls and your bed is made. Joshua couldn't take a shower. He could only take a bath. And he would only take a bath if there was a trusted adult upstairs, myself, Grandma, Grandpa, or the live-in nanny. If we were upstairs and he knew he was safe, he could take a bath. He tried to take his life twice. And then his mother died unexpectedly. And my greatest fear is that while I had him, would he try a third time? None of you knew his story. He spent 8 weeks in a child psychiatric hospital one summer. He spent 8 weeks in a child psychiatric hospital. On the day that he got out is the day that I'm meeting Grandma and Grandpa and Jordan and now Joshua at a restaurant. The boys are coming to live with me. It was 5 days before school. And I wanted to acclimate the boys. I wanted to do day trips. I wanted to take them out, buy towels and the comfort of the colors that they wanted. I wanted this time before school so when school starts, we can go off running. We're at dinner that night, and I said to the boys, I said, I don't like to make promises, but I'm going to ask you one thing. I said, if you could do anything this year, tell me one thing you want to do. I said, what do you want to do, Jordan? And he's like, I don't know. He was very quiet. I said to Joshua, I said, what do you want to do, Josh? And he looked at me, he's like, I want to play football. I said, why don't you play football? He said, what if I don't make the team? I said, Josh, why don't we worry about that then? I said, but you know what, Josh? You're fast. I said, you're strong, Josh. I said, you know what coaches want? They want kids like you that are fast and strong, that pay attention, that aren't afraid to ask for help. I said, you know what? If you don't know what to do and the upperclassmen are doing this, go get in line because the coach will be proud that you took initiative. I said, Josh, I have no doubt that you'll make the team. My job over the next 4 days was to build his confidence to be greater than his fear. If our fear is bigger than our confidence, we'll always live by fear. That's why we say to you, what's your why? What is your why? Because your why in life has to be greater than those excuses. We all can make excuses. But if your excuses are bigger than the why, you're done. You're done. Hey, 9th grade, first day of school, you want to play football? You show up and grab your cleats, your short, and your shirt, and that bell rings, you get out in the football field. The bell rang. Josh goes out to the football field. He comes home on the late bus, runs in the house. Mr. Jeff, I made the team. I'm like, Josh, you had tryouts. He's like, man, no, Mr. Jeff. Like he's mad at me. He's like, no, Mr. Jeff, the coaches said 9th grade, they don't have tryouts. The coaches said that if you commit, you commit. So, Mr. Jeff, I'm going to commit every day. It's all I want to do is play football. So you know what we found out? 9th grade, everybody makes the team. Now, what would have happened had his fear been greater and he didn't go out because he was afraid? Then a couple days later, he finds out from the other night, no, hey, everybody makes the team. Could he then go to the coaches and be like, Coach, I didn't know that everybody makes the team, but like if everybody makes the team, can I like be on the team now? No. You might say, hey, well, that's not fair. Ladies and gentlemen, life is not fair. But you know what? He never stood on the sidelines. He didn't play. He was small. I just visited your stadium. Beautiful facilities, beautiful school community. Some of us like, oh, it's cold. What time is it? I wish I was playing. He was just proud to be part of a team. You know what? None of you knew his story, but for the first time in his life, he sat with you. He wore your school colors. He was like a cowboy, cowgirl. He sat in meetings. This is a coach. I'm part of a team. Y'all don't understand. Matter of fact, I'm in the stands watching the game one night. I'm like, yeah, go Grafton. Yo, yeah, go. I'll never forget the timeout. Coaches come marching on the field. The players come to Coach, man, what's up? Coach, what are we doing wrong, Coach? You know how we have elementary kids that run the sidelines with the football in the water? All of a sudden, I see Joshua. He was a little bit special needs. He was different. He grabs the orange Gatorade in full uniform, and he's running it out onto the football field. I'm in the stands like, dude, what are you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, that night we got home, I had to praise him. We get home, Josh, you're like the best teammate in the world. He's like, yeah, I'm part of a team. We won. Like, yeah, you did, Josh. First time in his life, you made him feel that he belonged. Until one day. Until one day. One day he comes home from practice. When the door closed and he's in his four walls, our house, he threw everything down. His emotions exploded. We don't want to show our weakness in front of each other. He goes running up to his room, hysterically crying. I walk up there. I sit down in his bed. So what happened today, Josh? He told me that day at practice, a senior, one of the captains, told him that he should go home, do the whole team a favor, and that he should just kill himself. Why are we so hateful? Who's the hardest person to get to know? We say ourselves. And your friend is saying the same thing. I called the coach that night. I go sit down with the coach. We call the parents, the family. We go over to the parents' house. We're talking to the kid, and the kid, you know what he said? You know why he said it? He says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was just kidding. I said, I know. I said, I'm not upset with you. I get it. I get it. You ever do something you wish you didn't do? High five. You ever say something you wish you didn't say? High five. Because we're not perfect, right? You ever do something you wish you didn't do? Raise your hands. Thank you. Put your hands down. You ever say something you wish you didn't say? Raise your hands. Hands down. Thank you. Then why do we look at other people every day and judge them, holding them to the standard that's greater than the standard you hold yourself? You want to know why? Because you haven't looked yourself in the mirror yet. One of the greatest things that I ever had done is when I looked at that young man and I said, I'm not upset with you. I get it. Because that's a learning experience. Coach and I go back out to dinner, and he says to me, he says, Coach, he said, what do you want me to do? I said, Coach, I want you to spend more time with that boy. I said, I don't want him in trouble. Not Josh, I'll take care of Josh. But I said, Coach, I want you to spend more time and teach him what it means to be a captain. To teach him what it means to be influential. That's leadership. To teach him about building a legacy that comes through our system. That your leadership is about not just you, about everyone. I'll teach you the greatest lesson on leadership you will ever learn. Every day. You have to answer 2 questions. From mom, dad, from your teachers, your coaches, your friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your dog, your goldfish, it don't matter. 2 questions people ask. Question number 1, can I trust you? Question number 2, do you care about me? And every day you ask those 2 questions. And every day you got to answer those 2 questions. And so you know what I said to Josh? I get home that night, he's lying on the sofa. I sit down and said, hey Josh, I talked to Coach tonight. I said, Josh, you know why we forgive people? He says, no. I said, we don't forgive people for them. I said, Josh, we forgive people for ourselves. Ain't none of you perfect. I think you need to let go of what people may have said or done to you. Learn to have that forgiveness. Not only that, forgive yourself for what you may have said or done. And start over. And I said to Josh, let's call it a bad day. Let's pick yourself up tomorrow. Let's grab your stuff. The bell rings. Go back out there, Josh. He was all excited. We got up. We went to Dunkies. We got 10 donuts for him and I. And that was awesome. I dropped him off. He's going out to practice. And then he texted me. He texted me to come pick him up. Somebody said something to him. Joshua, for the next 4 years, never walked on the field ever again. And every day he walked through school and you laughed at him. You laughed at him because he was developmentally delayed. You laughed at him because he was different. You laughed at him because he was a quitter. I'd probably quit too if I thought everybody was laughing at me. You know where Josh is right now? Joshua's in a psychiatric hospital. He's been there for 2 months. He watched a television show on Netflix called 13 Reasons Why. He binge watched it. You know what I like about the show? It's forcing us to talk. Other than that, I'm not a big fan. I like it, I don't like it. He watched the show. Let me tell you what I'm proud of. He called me. He doesn't live with me anymore. He called me and said he needs help. I called Grandma and Grandpa right away, and we got him in the hospital. He was there for a week. He got out. Within 2 days, he needed help again. He's been there for 2 months. You know what we found out? The sexual abuse from when he was 1 to 3 that he remembers. He got goosebumps. By him being there and getting this help, we have learned that the abuse is far worse than we ever knew. Because he hasn't been honest, because he's afraid that we were going to judge him. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you can't go to your mom and dad. You're like, no, they're going to judge me. They don't understand. They're going to fix it. They're not going to validate my feelings and thoughts and emotions, and I get it. But I want to make sure that in your life, a teacher, coach, a youth pastor, your friend's mom or dad, I need to make sure that you have a trusted adult in your life. Someone that you can go to and they're not going to be judgmental. Someone that they're going to listen and validate your thoughts and feelings. If Josh didn't do that, he wouldn't be here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay. But it's not okay to not be okay and to not ask for help. I met a girl last year. She had a failed suicide attempt in Indiana. And after I'm speaking, the counselor brings up, she wants to talk to me. I sat down with her. I said, why didn't you ask for help? She said, nobody asked me. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we help if we don't know? Now, I'm not just talking mental health. It could be a math class, football, soccer, baseball, debate. It's okay to just ask a question. But I need you to be a little bit more resilient. I need you to be a little bit more, have that perseverance, that courage, that life is going to knock you down, but you're going to pick yourself. Matter of fact, what's your name, sir, in the red sweatshirt? Yeah. Chaz? Oh, Chance. Come here, my friend. Chance, I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you, my friend. Chance, I'm sorry, I'm all sweaty, man. I'm sorry. Come here. All right. Where's that most beautiful girl in the world? Get over here, girl. What's your name? Shayla. Shayla, come here.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm all sweaty. Chance, Shayla, stop it.
What?
you stay here.
Okay.
Chance, you stay here. Hey, man, you know her? You know him?
No.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude. Hey, yo, she's like, fine, yo. All right, you have a dream, Shayla?
Yes.
My friend, you have a dream? Mm-hmm. I think it's important to have a dream. I think it's also important that every day we wake up, show up, dress up, boom, we're at the front door getting ready to walk out in the world. And our life is in front of us. Dress up, show up, boom, there. Brush your teeth, wash your face, do your day. You know what else I think is important? Sleep. I think young people need 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And if you're ugly, you need more. Now, I'm not saying you're ugly. Maybe you have an ugly attitude. That makes sense, right? Number 2, nutrition. More water, less soda. I just lost over 100 pounds because I had diabetes. I'm not going to get into it. Nutrition is important. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, you can watch my TED Talk. Put the cell phone down a little bit. Because the more socially interactive, coping skills, problem-solving skills, confidence, empathy, compassion, okay. Now, at the end of the journey, you meet your grandparents, adults. They arrived at this place. They call it the destination. And a lot of them look back on their life and they say, you know, I never appreciated the journey. As a man that lives with mental illness, I don't live to get here. For me, it's present, engaged, embracing wins, losses, ups and downs. Because if you can't appreciate the journey, you will never be grateful for what the destination can truly mean. Now watch this. This is life. And I'm going to give you a free copy of my book. That's 28 days, a workbook to achieve a task. I'll email it to your school. They can dish it out. Here's what happens. We come out of the starting gate, the front door every day, right? Let's move forward to the destination. The fastest way to achieving something is a straight line. Now hold on, stop. You remember I talked about attitude, choices, behavior? Makes sense, right? You have all these interruptions. You have all these interruptions that come in and try and take you off course. You got gaming. You got boys. You got Snapface. You got Insta. You got the parties, but the dream is still there. That makes sense, right? Let's keep going. Yeah, I said Snapface. Snapface. Attitude, choice. Boom, stop. You ever have hardship?
What's that?
You ever get rejected by a girl? She dumped you?
Yeah.
Dude, high five. I love it. He admitted it. Come here, do me a favor, sit down for a second. She dumped you? Hey, you know what? No. Hey, when I was a junior in high school, I got dumped too. Now, let me tell you about Elaine Signorello. She had black hair. She was beautiful. She had this full set of eyes. Man. And she dumped me because she said I was not smart enough to ever take care of her. I'm over it. We're friends on Facebook, and you know what? Her husband is ugly. Ha ha! Now hold on, you stay there, my friend. Now, Shayla, life is Shayla, right?
Yes.
Life is good, attitude, choices, behavior. You got a good man. He's like, hey, girl, now stop. My friend, when life knocks you down, say it again. Last year I was at Washington University in St. Louis. 3 days before my visit, a sophomore lacrosse player took his life. They brought me in 3 days later to speak to all the athletes. At this moment right here, I asked the question, afterwards we're listening to a camera, And on camera, there's a girl in college. She said, you know, Jeff is like all motivational speakers. He said that when life knocks you down, you get back up, but he doesn't tell us how. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to want. That's it. You get dumped, you get rejected, you get into an argument, this happens. Hey, you pick yourself back up, it's okay. You focus on where you're going, not where you've been. Now here's the problem. It's easy to look at our peers and say, oh man, she's like further ahead than me. They like her better. Her family has more money. They drive a nice car. She's got into that college. Don't play that game. Because life is not a race. Life is a journey. And so watch this. You pick yourself up, stay here. Shayla, you ever have any hardship? You ever get dumped?
Yeah.
Yeah, high five. All right. Now you do me a favor. Sit down. Now, time out. Life knocked her out. All of a sudden, it's like, my life stinks. Now, you pick yourself up, my friend. You take a deep breath. You got friends that say, hey, man, it's okay. Just one day at a time. Let's go. Life is good. Attitude, choices, behavior. Yo, you just get another girlfriend. Yeah. Now, hold on. Remember I talked about self-esteem earlier? Although you don't know her, you know where self-esteem comes from? Stop thinking so much about you. When you see one of your peers, a classmate, a teammate, and you see them hurting or struggling or down, my friend, all we need sometimes is a good gesture, a kind word. And so you come over here, my friend, and you get her back into her game.
I think you tripping.
I'm sorry, man. He'll be all right. Hold on. You know what he said to me? He said, yo, man, you're tripping. Why did you say that, sir? Now, hold on. Oh, honesty. You know what he said? He's like, you want me to embarrass myself in front of everybody? But you just saw a gentleman walk over to a young lady and say, I'm here for you. And you know what everyone did? They see you in a different light now. They see you as a gentleman. And you got to feel good about that. That's where self-esteem comes from. No! Good job, buddy. We started, no, stay, oh, I ain't done with you. We started over there. Every single day we got a little better. Folks, perfection doesn't exist. I want to be better today than I was yesterday. I want to be better tomorrow than I was today. Now, look how close we are to the destination. Do not compromise the choices, your behavior, your attitude, because you are looking for acceptance. Do not compromise this because instant gratification. Patience in the process. Stay your course. When life knocks you down, pick yourself back up. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to respect one another. It's okay to have love in your heart. And at the end, people look at you in a different light. Please give these two beautiful people a round of applause. Thanks, buddy. Thank you so much. All right. Can I just have 5 more minutes? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take 5 minutes. I'm losing my voice. I love old people. You want to know why old people smell and they don't care? I love grandparents. My grandpa, I remember, this is my wife's grandpa. He came over one Thanksgiving. He dropped out of school in the 8th grade. Never had to go to the Second World War because he started a business, provided food for the community. He ended up owning shopping centers, mobile home parks, gas stations, car dealerships. He comes over that Thanksgiving in his Cadillac. He had 11 of them. Not at the same time. And I've always been a gentleman. I walk out, Grandpa, come on in. I'll never forget, he was 94, and I thought to myself, I want to spend more time with him. So for the next 3 years, every day I was home, I would start my day by going to visit Grandpa. He lived 2 miles. Every day I'd walk in the house, and he would always invite me to sit down. He's like, well, why don't you sit down? Ladies and gentlemen, I never sat down until he invited me to do so. And you know, you grandparents, they don't talk much. But it's like, how is school today? How's your boyfriend? Good. I would sit down, and Grandpa didn't say much. I want to share with you 3 things I will always remember from my grandpa. One day we sat there and he said, the 3 most powerful words that you could say to someone. I love you. Never talked about his money. The second thing he said, the 3 most courageous words that you could tell someone. I am sorry. He was 97 years old. I arrived at his house one day. Grandpa was not sitting in his chair. I walk in the house, he had broken his hip. He had fallen. He's on the kitchen floor, he couldn't get up. I get down on my hands and knees, I called 911, he says, it's going to be okay, Grandpa. 97 years old, he walked 4 miles every single day. He walked 2 miles to the Dunkin' Donuts to get his donut, to say hi to the pretty girls. He walked 2 miles back home. I tell you this, you want to know why? Everybody knew Grandpa. When I called 911, the dispatcher said, is this Mr. Ken? I said, yes, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, within minutes, everybody showed up. The Rock, Baywatch, Hawaii Five-0, the police, Chips, fire department, paramedics, the ambulance. They rushed Grandpa off to the hospital. They did emergency surgery. The family comes in that night, and the family were going out to dinner that night. And my wife, she stops and she said, honey, why don't you stay with Grandpa? I said, why don't you stay with him? He's your grandpa. And my wife said to me, she said, everybody thinks that Grandpa would like it best if you were there because you were the closest one to him. Ladies and gentlemen, that night the glow of the machines lit up the room. I sat with Grandpa while he slept. And you know what I learned? I learned how to spell the word love. I don't mean to be sensitive or quirky about this, but at that moment while my grandpa was dying, I realized that love is T-I-M-E. The next morning, before the doctors came in, we're sitting there, and he said, number 3, he said, we never have time to do things right, but we always have time to do things over. He said, why don't we just do it right the first time? The doctors come in, his heart capacity is at less than 10%. They call the family comes in. We sat with Grandpa, the family's laughing, the family's crying, family goes out to dinner again. I said to my wife, I says, I'm not leaving. I sat there that night, family wasn't there. I held his hand. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are laughing, in 17 years, my wife has never seen me speak. My parents have never seen me speak. My father has never told me he's proud of me. I was abused as a child. Stop waiting for people to validate you. And you got to get up and learn to validate yourself. And that is work that we do every single day. I became a man that night when I held his hand. I said, "Thank you, Grandpa." He said, "I love you, Grandpa. You can go. I'll take care of the family now." It's 7:30 in the morning with no one there. I felt him squeeze my hand, and Grandpa passed. And I want to ask you, if you have someone in your life you know is struggling, you know they're hurting, stop. Kind gesture, a kind word, a kind sentiment, time. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this. Relax, it's going to be okay. Wake up every day and show up. Attitude, choices, behavior. My name is Jeff Yalden. I'm here for you. I'm on social media at Jeff Yalden, Insta, Snapface, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. God bless all of you. Holy